listening to another ambitious EntreprenneurNetwork.com podcast, the voice for entrepreneurs and small business. Now, onto the show.
Welcome to SMARTConnect podcast, the podcast for small to medium-sized enterprises. Join your host, Annemarie Cross, as she interviews business experts and industry thought leaders on best practice initiatives, innovation, and insights to help you grow your business. Now, over to your host.
Welcome to SMARTConnect Podcast, Episode 0. My name's Annemarie Cross, podcast specialist, and I'll be hosting the show. Now, on today's episode, I want to introduce you to CEO and co-founder of SMARTConnect Alliance, Brenda Thompson, to share a little bit more about SMARTConnect Alliance, also what's in store for you in our upcoming episodes on the podcast. So welcome to the show, Brenda.
Thank you for having me, Annemarie, and thank you so much for agreeing to host the SMARTConnect podcast.
Oh, my pleasure.
We are really excited to have you doing it.
My absolute pleasure. I have been a member of the SMARTConnect Alliance, and I've known you for many, many years, and I know top quality members, top quality outcomes. So it certainly is an honour. Let's dive in and share with other people who are not yet familiar with SMARTConnect Alliance. Let's share a little bit more about who they are.
The SMARTConnect Alliance is a collective of business-to-business suppliers, advisors and consultants. And it evolved initially from a networking group that attempted to address the key problems in networking groups. First one being quantity over quality. Most networking groups are focused on bums on seats. If someone pays for a ticket, then they can participate. And that leads to the other problem, which is lucky dip effect. So you just never know who you're going to meet. And when we created the SMARTConnect Alliance, initially we were creating it to address that problem by putting really high quality people in the room who shared the same target market. And that's evolved into the SMARTConnect Alliance, which is something now you can't buy your way into. Members are identified and invited because they have 4 key characteristics in common. First of all, they have to have the highest standards of professional excellence and customer service. And I'll talk a little bit later about how we actually measure that. They're leaders and innovators in their field. They're authorities in their field. They share a commitment to the same core values. And really importantly, they have the same ideal clients. Small to medium enterprises, often referred to as SMEs. You won't find mortgage brokers, life coaches, or people like that in the SMARTConnect Alliance, which just really leads us to all about why we've created the SMARTConnect podcast, because it is for those people, small to medium enterprises, not micros, not startups, although I'm sure they'd get enormous value, but we're really focusing in on the needs of strong established businesses who are growing to the next level, who've probably got between 5 and 100 staff, who are turning over more than 500,000, because they face a really unique set of challenges, and there just isn't that much information, help and support out there for that set of people.
Now, you did mention that there is a process that you go through to ensure that the people who become members are operating at that highest level of excellence. You also mentioned that there is a measurement system. Talk a bit more about that.
Yes, absolutely. And that was really key to the whole concept behind the SMARTConnect Alliance as it evolved. Members really need to know the people that they're sharing meetings with, introducing their clients to, referring their clients to, supporting their own clients with, are of the highest possible quality. So we've actually introduced as a criteria for membership a customer survey process. So you can't become a SMARTConnect member without you survey all of your clients and they endorse you for your high standards of professional excellence, integrity and customer service. There's no way in otherwise.
Yes.
And that really gives members confidence, but it also gives members' clients confidence in the fact that every single member is committed to the absolute best for their clients.
Absolutely.
And integrity is core there, because it's not about, oh yeah, this is a good client for me. It's about, am I the best possible provider for this client? Can I deliver the best results for this client? And if I can't, who else can I introduce them to who can?
Yeah, I know as a business owner who is working with clients, there's often areas where a client will present that they're struggling with, and I know that having a group of core business professionals within the Alliance, I really can trust the people who I recommend, and so it's going to be so exciting being able to introduce them on the podcast and have them share their insights. But this measurement system is not just a once-off, it is something that continues, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. To get to be accepted as a member, they have to pass it the first time. But after that, it's an ongoing process, approximately once every 3 to 4 months. We're not pedantic about it. We're not pedantic about anything in the SMARTConnect Alliance because it's got to be about best practice. So for each member, we look at what's best practice for them, their business and their clients in terms of surveying their customers, because some people do project-based. So they'd want to do their surveys through the life of a project. Other people might have ongoing clients, like IT support companies have ongoing clients. So they'd want to survey them perhaps every time there's a crisis, but also on a regular ongoing basis about the level of customer support they're receiving. So with each member, we work on what's best practice for their business, but there is this ongoing element of customer service. And if at any point a member's customer service slips, then we're sorry, but they can't be in the SMARTConnect Alliance.
Many businesses are working in disruptive industries, and we have key people in the network, in the Alliance, that really are at the top of their game and can provide even expertise, even from technology, marketing, all of that kind of area too, don't we?
Absolutely. And what we did when we were putting together the infrastructure of the Alliance is we looked at what are all the core professions that people in that ideal client framework of the 5 to 100 employees, and we look at manufacturing, construction, retail, hospitality, professional services, logistics, health, tourism, local government associations, and more. But they are that key set of people with between 5 and 100 employees. They have a unique set of problems, and we looked at what are all of the services that they need in that business-to-business space, ranging from HR, tender writing, IT support, marketing, technology. What are all of those services, and what are the professions that can best serve them? And we created, I guess, a map of all of those professions, and then we've gone looking for the best of the best in those professions. Now, I can't claim that we have the best of the best because we may not have found them, but what I can be really, really positive about is that the people we have are outstanding.
And what I love about that, and thank you for sharing that with us, is that, as business owners who specialise in a certain area, we don't know everything, but isn't it wonderful that we have this alliance that we can reach out to, that are able to provide cutting-edge thought leadership around certain areas. And so this is what we want to bring to listeners of the SMARTConnect podcast. And in a moment, we're going to share, of course, with listeners how they can get in contact with some of these great Alliance members. Thinking about what you call your wheel, explain a little bit more about how that works, because that's something I've never yet seen in any network, in any alliance.
Sure, we have what we call the Smart Partner Wheel, which very much focuses on that ecosystem that I just talked about, all of the people who service that target market. But we've broken that down more into the people who are likely to be able to work really closely together. As an example, if you think about the problem of solving the problems of marketing. So we have web developers, SEO consultants, graphic designers, branding experts, copywriters, people like that all working together so that a business gets a whole problem solved and not just a little bit here and a little bit there and then suddenly find the problem hasn't been solved properly at all. So that we're taking a really whole business comprehensive approach to helping business owners solve their problems.
Yes. It's interesting that you should say that, because just this morning I was talking to a business owner who is in the business arena but more for marketing, and she was saying there are so many industries or people out there in business who see very much a narrow focus in the way in which to approach a business problem. Yet, as we know, there are so many parameters, so many factors that we need to take into consideration to ensure what we're doing not only works, but works well for our particular business, our particular industry. And I think being able to tap into alliance such as this with broad expertise is something that is unique in itself. And so I can imagine that many of our listeners are going to tap into and remain tapped into the alliance, and of course come back and listen to the podcast. Is there anything else that you'd like to share to our listeners?
Yes, I'm sort of bursting too, because I think you hit a really, really key point there. And that's the issue of specialisation versus broad services, the specialist versus the GP. Because what tends to happen is that people either find themselves suddenly at a specialist, and marketing's a great example of this. They find themselves suddenly at a specialist, the Facebook consultant who says, everybody needs Facebook and I'll help you with your Facebook advertising or your Facebook marketing, when that hasn't been put in a broad context. So then you get the other set of providers who say, I do everything, so that they can make sure that it's all tied together. But then you've got the problem of the specialist versus the jack of all trades.
Yes.
So how we've come up with such an awesome solution to that in the SMARTConnect Alliance is because we've got all the specialists, but they're working together. So you've got the best of every single specialization, but they're working as a team.
Yeah. And I can absolutely vouch for that, because I'm currently working with some of the other great upcoming guests, because we're supporting one another. And through that, I'm really getting to understand what they offer, their expertise, how it fits into the whole spectrum of marketing, business development and so forth. So I can call upon them at a moment's notice to really support clients. And that's really the vision that you have for the Alliance, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Yep, totally.
So if people want to find out a little bit more, because I know that you've got a great database, that you share a little bit more about that, if you will, and then also how people can go to the website to check out all of the members in the Great Alliance and what's happening.
Absolutely. Well, the website is ssba.net.au, and we're in the process of putting a directory on there, and nobody will be in that directory unless they've scored really highly on our customer satisfaction survey.
Yes.
And if they lose their rating, they fall out of the directory. So that'll be there in the next month. We'll have the directory, and we'll also have a dedicated page for the podcast channel, so people will be able to check out the podcast shows as you're doing them, Annemarie, which we're really excited about. And also they'll be able to subscribe to our newsletter. Now, the newsletter is all the articles that go out in the newsletter are all written by members, and they're really high quality, informative articles. We won't be having simple, basic how-tos and stuff like that. It's really cutting-edge stuff. We're asking members to write things that are stripping away the hype, that are reviewing best practice, trends and innovation, looking at in-depth case studies with critical analysis, not just theories, and examining new policies and emerging technologies and how they impact SMEs. They're really going to challenge and encourage and support our listeners and our readers to really take their businesses to the next level. This is not going to be basic stuff.
No.
It's really going to be advanced, cutting edge, adding to the pool of knowledge for SME stuff.
Absolutely. So again, that website, www.ssba.net.au. And of course, we're going to feature a lot of those thought leaders on their best practice initiatives and innovations and insights on the show. And also from time to time, Brenda, when we connect with a key stakeholder, maybe it might be government, local or federal government representative, we'll also feature them on the show so that we can really, as I said, get to the heart of things that that SMEs are struggling with, and we want to provide that cutting edge information that they can continue to grow their business.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Are you a specialist who supports small business and you want to increase your visibility, reach and influence with your own podcast channel, but you don't want to handle the back-end management and ongoing promotion of your show? The Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast Network is on the lookout for a select group of specialists who are ready to become an influencing voice in their industry. So if you're an aspiring podcast host, or if you have an existing business-focused podcast and you're looking for ways to increase your exposure, reach and results by leveraging our podcast network platform, let's talk. To find out more, go to www.ambitiousentrepreneurnetwork.com/podcast host. That's www.ambitiousentrepreneurnetwork.com/podcast host. The voice for entrepreneurs and small business.
Well, that brings us to the end of another show. If you want to connect with Australia's foremost collective of business experts and industry thought leaders for small to medium-sized businesses, go to www.ssba.net.au. That's ssba.net.au.